Beloved heart, I invite you to sign up to my mailing list, and as a result of signing up, you will get a free gift. It's a 5D rebalance tune up of all the chakras, and chakras are my specialty. So I would love to gift you with this transmission that is filled with light language and codes to help you stay balanced and tuned up during these increased frequencies of energy of this ascension, this new earth frequency. So check out the links in the notes of this show. And I look forward to connecting with you. I am sending you love. This is the transfiguration of the new you. Beloved heart, I'm Monica Bermudez. Welcome back to my podcast in another episode. In this episode, I do want to focus on healthy boundaries because as we are entering in December, which is the beginning of December now, and it feels like because usually in December it's a lot of holidays, so it's a mixture of like holidays and um, most of these are religious based type holidays, so spiritual based, and there is a lot of energy as well that I feel like in December because it's been so heavily commercialized for years that there's also this overwhelming type energy of like all these distractions from everywhere. And that includes also, like having friends and family, which is okay, but there is, an increased exponential amount of this. And so the part, that I always, um, feel that throughout the years of the holidays in December is that I don't enjoy as much anymore is so much of the commercial side of things because it does feel a bit heavy in energy for me. So it could feel like a little bit of a down state because of the overwhelming amount of energy that is so emphasized around it. That being so like about the material things of like, for instance, for example, like Christmas, all about giving gifts and all this. But it's just gotten to be so extreme about, certain physical things, about having those physical things in our life, that that's become a bit overly, commercialized. And that's how I feel about the energies when it comes to December. So it's a mixture of all these energies. However, that, being said, healthy boundaries is so key and so important when it comes to accepting or allowing certain energies in your own energy field because as we interact with people, there's all forms of energy cords that also get attached to us in certain parts of our body, and sometimes that can also be felt in our shoulders, and that can also be felt a lot, especially in the solar plexus, where I've noticed that I've cut so many energetic cords of like others that feel that there is still that attachment there, and it's not always a good attachment. Let's just say it's more like a energy sucking type, draining type, energy cord, and those are the type of cords that I'm talking about that tend to exhaust you and drain you of your own energy. And a lot of the times the energy cords around our shoulders are also a bit heavy, so sometimes we may feel certain pain in our shoulder, the top shoulder and the back, and also in our backs as well. And a lot of this is due to just being around, certain like overwhelming type energy, and having stress as well and anxiety, because I feel that sometimes around the holidays there is an increase of anxiety of trying to figure out what someone's going to get someone else. However, as we are expanding in consciousness, because there's also a big surge of energy increase in December with the Christ consciousness energy, which is a very expansive energy that is, helping us also receive, certain upgrades in our body. And in our DNA as well, because we are ascending in these very, I would say, more expansive of our own consciousness. And the more that we become more expansive of our consciousness, that we become more self-aware of our energy field and self-aware of the certain sensitivities that we have around our environment and being around certain people. So that's the part, to really pay attention how your body is feeling when it comes to certain situations, when it comes to certain people that you hang around. So if you start to feel like there's certain pain in your solar plexus, and it's not necessarily like a stomach pain, but it's like this, pain that you feel in the solar plexus that just feels like it's heavy. It feels like it's dark, or it feels like something overpowering, overwhelming. Then that is the area to pay attention, that there is some form of energy type drainage going on in that situation or with certain individuals. So the key is, paying attention to these things and to be able to maneuver your way around it, or maybe remove yourself from those situations and those people if you're able to. And that also has, that healthy boundary for yourself as well. And so this is, my own personal life. Actually, growing up, I never really had any personal boundaries, like any like healthy type personal boundaries, because I've always been this big nurturer type, energy growing up. And I didn't realize how much I was until like, later on, that I was working so much on my own patterns and looking at all my, past relationships and looking at all my past life experiences. And I realized that this is one of those areas that just needed to be very much polished. And so I emphasize this so much on myself now on a daily routine, that I also want to emphasize this to you as well. And, in that, because I didn't have the healthy boundaries, I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to say no when it came to like somebody asking for like certain specific mystical type services or any other spiritual type services. For instance, I always felt like I had to keep giving of myself. But in that giving, there's this energy exchange and this training. And also like when people would ask, to have someone, like if you get invited to like certain events or parties, I sometimes didn't even know how to say no to that. Even if I was as exhausted and tired, and always felt that in a way, there's some aspects of me that I felt that I had to be obligated to maintain certain friendships. And so all of that was, very unhealthy and out of balance. Like it was very energy draining. And so the one thing that I noticed, that when you feel so energy drained, that to the point that you could feel a bit irritated, then that is a sign that you are drained and it's time to take a break. And so that's when I know that I need a break. And that break could be, in all different kinds of forms. It could be taking a retreat somewhere in the woods, or going to the mountain for a hike, going somewhere out in nature, and going to like a spa, for instance, and having a massage, having some form of self-care routine. And so those are some examples of those things. And so for these holidays, for the months of December, it's important also to take breaks and take rest. And that could be, taking naps, like power naps for an hour, 2 hours, or however long you need to recharge. And other forms of like taking those breaks is through meditation and giving yourself like your own sacred space to be able to meditate, or even just to reflect on things, right? And just taking that time to just reflect on things that you're learning from, right? Could be certain lessons in your life that, or certain actions that you take in that you just want to reflect on. it's not to, overanalyze it or anything, but it's just taking that break that you need to reassess yourself and to recharge and reset before going back out and living your life as a human again. Because, as we are dual in nature, being the human beings and being right now on this earth surface with all the energies being in a bit of a chaotic state because a lot of things are being released and cleansed and purified. And that's why things are so accelerated. And I feel like these years, have, especially on the holidays, it feels even more accelerated because there is a really increased amount of the Christ consciousness energy as well, like I mentioned. And there's a lot of these cosmic codes of energies as well. And I feel in particular, that December, um, it keeps increasing in magnitude every year because of the ascension, because of the great awakening that we are all being ushered in to remember and reconnect to ourselves and our own soul. And having that reconnection to what I call being back home in your own soul. And so that will bring up, a lot of uncomfortable things too, like certain energies from the past that you thought you may have been done with, but sometimes, in the dreams in particular, they will come up and be, just for purification and cleansing and to be completing in a cycle. And so being the last month of the year, this is, an opportunity to just review, the whole year and the actions and the lessons learned from that year in itself, and taking all the best attributes that you've learned and that you've gained, the knowledge, the wisdom out of those activities, out of those life lessons, out of whatever it is that you may have learned, or even if you had achievements and successes, and being grateful for them, but taking all of that with you, completing the ones that no longer have resonate with you or that are done in your life, then that is leave it there in that year or let it be dissolved. So take the things that matter with you in the next in the year to come for the new year, and just be with the ones that make sense, that resonate with you in the moment, that are supporting you in the ascension and in the awakening. So just know this, with healthy boundaries, that you find your own space in your own time to take those breaks, to know to say no without feeling guilty or feeling obligated for anything or anyone or any reason whatsoever. And this is something that I always tell myself, that, I it's okay to say no. It's okay to preserve your energy and your power to maintain it within, your own field and keep yourself charged and uplifted, joyful, and happy. So if you're feeling drained, if you're feeling irritated, for example, or like easily, irritated or easily triggered right now, then that is a sign that you probably need a break. And but these are one of the things that, to keep in mind, to have as you reflect on it, is knowing how to say no, but saying no like in a nice way, right? It doesn't have to be so aggressive either. It could just be like in a very graceful, very nice manner that you can easily just tell someone no with your own ease and grace. And so, yeah, just, those are some of the simple reminders around the healthy boundaries, because in healthy boundaries, you're also protecting your auric field and protecting it from any toxic energy cores that just don't belong there, from any even any entities of any other kind that you're not allowing in your space, and that you're just, setting your area, your space, your own space around you to be in your own sacred space, and preserving that sacredness around you. Um, of course, we're always interacting with one another because it is our human nature to be in, interacting in different forms of relationships. Um, but just knowing that when there's certain signs that you're feeling burnt out, like the ones that I described earlier, that do pay attention to them, to find the means and the methods to reset and recharge yourself. And as you go out to certain holiday parties and interact with others, just know and pay attention to when it's time to maybe retreat. And you probably need your own space to and know, like, when it's not your own energy either. If you're feeling, explosive all of a sudden, and it's not your usual behavior, or, just any other form of behavior that just doesn't seem like your normal self. And those are the signs and the red flags to pay attention to. And so just keep that in mind, that whatever you do, that you always have your own, soul connection, your higher self guidance, also to provide you with the inner guidance that you need at this time. Especially if you're feeling, in your gut feeling that this is not the place or the person to interact with at this time, then ask your higher guidance for, the best guidance as to why that is and why you're feeling that in that moment. So, some of the other tools and tips of, like, keeping your energy field clean and keeping your healthy boundaries as well is to also um, talk to your angels and talk to your higher guidance. And one angel in particular, Archangel Michael, is very good at, like, protecting energy fields and also keeping those healthy boundaries and reminders, and knowing and giving you guidance as well on how you can preserve your boundaries in a very healthy way, and how you can also say no in a very healthy way as well. And so, yeah, Archangel Michael is very particular about that as well. And so I've always used him for so many things, and I still continue to use Archangel Michael's guidance and support in those areas. So I also, recommend his protection and his guidance when it comes to all of these healthy boundaries for us, and for you in particular, if that is what you're seeking. And so the other, thing that I also use a lot is music. I listen to a lot of music in my headset to help me recharge and reset as well, but also keep myself within the healthy boundary area as well. And because music has, certain vibrational sounds and frequencies, and it all depends, the type of music that you're listening to, which, has certain, like, energy frequencies in them. And I always like to listen to, like, certain, like, um, upbeat type music that has, really powerful lyrics. If they have, some of these lyrics can serve as affirmations as well. So all of those things, can help uplift you and keep you preserved in your own sacred little energy, bubble as well. And, of course, mantras and all these other things that you gravitate towards that make you feel pleasant and keep you in this stage of the healthy boundary. So just remember that as we get into December, about, keeping an eye on your self and your own self-care, because maintaining healthy boundaries is another form of self-care as well, which also is another form of self-love. So, as you may be giving a lot, just remember to also give to yourself and allow yourself to receive and keep yourself in that balance as well. I am sending you so much love, and we will be connecting in another episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click like, save, and share with others so they can also experience what you just experienced. And stay tuned for some more high vibe episodes. And I'll be connecting with you in the next quantum field. Sending you so much love.